Welcome to the France 24 interview. Our guest today is Alain Juillet, who is the president of the Business Intelligence Academy and a former very senior official with France's intelligence services, the DGSE as it's known here. Alain Juillet, welcome to the France 24 interview. I should add that you're also a senior advisor to the law firm Auric, Rambaud and Martel. Right. So there has been a controversy around here, the Paris Air Show, when a group of conservative members of parliament asked that the national carrier Air France buys Airbuses for a multi-billion euro contract instead of Boeing's. And some people are wondering, is this the return of protectionism, the old style economic patriotism?
Well, I don't think so. First of all, for a lot of French people have been upset, you know, with the story of the purchase by the U.S. Air Force, you know, of tankers, aircraft tankers, because Airbus was leading, you know, the offer, and they have cut the offer and relaunch a new offer in order to oblige, you know, U.S. Air Force to select, you know, the American Boeing. So at that time, French people were upset. Some people, members of parliament, you know, and people from industry were really upset. And I think that part of this announcement now is a kind of retaliation, you know, against, you know, what happens at that time. But seriously now, I think that everybody understands it's impossible to go back to protectionism for a company as EADS, as Airbus, you know, because they need to sell planes, you know, worldwide.
And they are selling.
They are selling worldwide. They are doing very good sales, you know, in Le Bourget, and therefore, you know, they have no interest at all to block for political reason the selling of aircraft, you know, or airplanes, you know, in one area or another. That's very clear. Now, on the political side, member of parliament says it is necessary, you know, they say it's necessary to stop, you know, to buy, you know, Boeing planes. It's not serious. When you are I would say managing a company as Air France, you know, you select your planes not with the nationality of the plane, but you select the plane because they are responding and answering to some requirements, special requirements.
Yes, but just for our viewers, the French state has 15% in Air France, but we saw the CEO of Air France being asked by a minister to come in and have a chat, and that's makes it appears like, yes, the government is also not only MPs in their own name, but the government is also pressuring the company to buy European rather than American.
Well, but don't forget that the French government has exactly the same shares, same same shares in EADS, in Airbus, than the Germans. And the German government have said nothing, you know, on it. And if you want to pressure, you know, the management of Airbus, you need to work jointly, you know, the French and the German. Up to now, just some French ministers have said it will be fair to buy Airbus instead of Boeing.
But you believe that's wrong?
But I think there is no more than, you know, the declaration is much more a political, you know, declaration. It's not the reality. There is not at all temptation of protectionism in this country, because France knows very well that they have to export, you know. With such a low rate of increase of growth, you know, in France yearly, it is necessary. We are obliged to export. If you want to export, you cannot say to the others, we block our borders, you know, because if we block our borders, the others will block their borders, and we will be unable to export. So, you know, in this world, it's impossible to do. Protectionism is a very old-fashioned way of thinking, you know. Now, temptation for some political leaders are always to speak about protectionism, because, you know, that's a kind of populism. Before elections, that's a way to, you know, to attract, you know, and to trap some people. But seriously, on a business point of view is not serious.
Okay, I want to turn to the
Yes?
issue that you've been involved. Business intelligence. You were also in charge of this
Yeah,
issue for the French government for many years. There's a lot of reports that business has become like the old style Cold War with real spying activities. About China, for instance, the use of the internet. I mean, has there really been a substantial increase in the competition using those means in recent years?
It's clear, absolutely clear, that competition is increasing very, very quickly worldwide. More and more countries, more and more companies are in the market. More and more companies are competing against the others in all of the other countries. And some of them, some countries and some companies are ready to use all the means, in order to succeed.
Including illegal.
Including illegal, that's clear. So the problem for countries as our countries is to control it, to stop it. But on the other side, and as you say, on the other side, the big change, the big move for the last, during the last 10 years, 15 years, is that you can find through internet a lot of information which were before very, very difficult to acquire, and therefore, it's more and more easy to any company to find information by a legal way, not illegal, but by legal way, and with this information to be more competitive or to be, more aggressive, because when you know your enemy, when you know very well your competitor, you know the strengths and weaknesses of the competitor, and when you know the strengths and weaknesses, so you can decide where you have to go in order to win.
Who are the more aggressive ones? I mean, there's a lot of talk about China. There was a recent controversy here in France where 3 employees from Renault, the car maker, were accused wrongly in the end of working in cahoots with a Chinese company. But is it nevertheless a trend that you have seen in recent years?
Well, as you say, for Renault, it was fully wrong. But it's true that today, in this country, as in other some countries in Europe, I would say, main part of the European countries, there is a tendency, a trend, we say, each time that something happens, that's the Chinese. Well, I can say it's wrong. Chinese are one of the competitors, but we have competitors worldwide, allied and non-allied. And the competition is played by everybody. So you have to be very careful with this kind of concept, because reality, is that, for instance, in our country, main part of the attacks against companies, aggressive attack against companies, are made by French companies against French companies. And after, and the police services have shown it in the past 2 or 3 years ago, giving some data, it is clear that our allies, or companies from allied countries, are playing the same games, that is to say, are very aggressive against us. So, and the others, of course, as China, Russia, India, everybody. Today, everybody is competing. And some companies are, from time to time, forget the reality of the laws and are going to illegal to win. By chance, and because we have organization in order to fight against it, normally we stop it. I say normally, but sometimes, they can succeed.
Right. But are you afraid that this kind of free-for-all competition, as a result, there are no limits really, and that there is a kind of anarchy out there, making it very difficult to protect, but also to prosecute eventually companies that do wrong?
I think to defend, to stop, attacks, it's possible. Because we have, today with all the system, control system, it's possible to detect what happens and to stop them. The problem is how to prosecute them, as you say. And it's very difficult because all our laws are made, for our countries. But when something happens coming from other countries with other laws, and with some cuts, between, as the origin and the final point. So it's very, very difficult to prosecute and to go to court, you know. Therefore, to stop out from action.
Just last question. Are you concerned by the fact that many former intelligence officers create their own security companies to protect businesses or other things? There's kind of privatization of former intelligence officials, and there's kind of gray area there. And is it a concern?
Well, it's a concern if it will be a concern if we were unable to control them. You know, experience have shown that the two first countries to do it have been United States and England, you know, in the United Kingdom. And in these two countries, all these companies, these little companies or medium companies, are controlled, you know, by the state services. That is to say, they can play, but within a limit. Okay? And the problem for us is exactly the same. We see a lot of people now coming from the army, you know, coming from the police side, you know, and they are creating companies or joining companies, doing a lot, you know, of things. Our issue, our concern is to oblige them to act legal, first of all, to be always on the legal side. And the second point is to control them in order to avoid, you know, any, I would say, move out from what we consider as a sound, you know, for our country also. It's not, that's private company, so it's not possible, you know, to oblige them to do something. But through the law, through our control, it's possible to maintain them in the right place.
Okay, Alain Juillet, thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us, and thank you for watching the interview here on France 24. Stay tuned for more news.
Thank you.